Hollywood has always sold us perfection, smooth faces, bright lights, and everlasting youth. But behind those glamorous smiles, time and choices tell a much harsher truth. Today, we're counting down 15 celebrities who aged terribly, and not just on the outside. Some lost their health, others their fame, and a few, their very grip on reality. Stick around, number 7 will leave you absolutely stunned. 15. Chevy Chase. In the late 70s, Chevy Chase was comedy royalty. Saturday Night Live, Caddyshack, National Lampoon's Vacation. His timing was electric, his sarcasm unmatched. But fame can turn sharp humor into bitterness. As years went on, Chase's reputation soured. Crew members described him as impossible to work with, and his once boyish charm hardened into arrogance. By the time he appeared in Community, even co-stars called him toxic. Today, the quick-witted jokester, who made millions laugh, seems trapped behind the very cynicism that built his brand. His health has declined, and that easy grin has faded into a man haunted by what fame cost him. 14. Madonna. Few artists have reinvented themselves like Madonna, the queen of pop who ruled the 80s and 90s with unmatched confidence. But reinvention has a price. In her drive to stay relevant, Madonna pushed surgeries, filters, and extremes until even devoted fans started asking, "Who is this?" At 66, her once fearless expression of individuality now seems like a battle against time itself. She's still performing, still demanding the spotlight, but the line between icon and parody has blurred. Madonna taught the world that women could control their image. Sadly, she's become the perfect example of how fame can make that control impossible to let go of. 13. Steven Seagal. Once, Steven Seagal was the face of 90s action, tall, calm, deadly. His martial arts skills and stone-cold stare made him a box-office powerhouse. But ego and controversy quickly caught up. Rumors of abusive behavior, bizarre political alliances, and inflated stories about his past turned the action star into a late-night punchline. Today, Seagal's movies go straight to streaming or vanish entirely. His once lean physique replaced by a sedentary frame and a permanent scowl, Seagal looks like a man hiding from his own myth. From action legend to global exile, it's one of Hollywood's most uncomfortable declines. 12. Brigitte Bardot. In the 1950s, Brigitte Bardot was the symbol of French beauty, radiant, sensual, utterly alive. But after fame burned too bright, Bardot retreated from the screen, finding comfort in isolation and animal activism. Decades later, the glamorous goddess of and God-created woman looks almost unrecognizable. Wrinkles and weariness replaced her famous pout. But that's not the shocking part. It's her attitude. Her outspoken, often controversial political statements have alienated many fans. The radiant ingenue who once embodied love and freedom now spends her days railing against the world she once enchanted. 11. Gary Busey. Few transformations are as dramatic as Gary Busey's. The Texas-born actor earned an Oscar nomination for the Buddy Holly story, but behind the scenes, his wild lifestyle and a devastating motorcycle crash changed everything. The brain injury he suffered in 1988 left lasting effects, impulsivity, erratic speech, and eccentric behavior that made him both fascinating and tragic. Once a promising leading man, Busey's name became a shorthand for Hollywood chaos. Reality TV appearances kept him visible, but often as a caricature of madness rather than the serious actor he once was. It's a sobering look at how one moment, one crash, can rewrite a life. 10. Axl Rose. When Axl Rose screamed, "Welcome to the jungle," rock felt dangerous again. But behind those piercing blue eyes was a man battling rage, addiction, and fame's crushing weight. Years of turmoil, lawsuits, and infamous delays took their toll. When Rose finally returned to touring, fans were shocked. His voice, once volcanic, had lost its edge. His face, bloated and tired, told the story of sleepless nights and internal wars. Axl remains one of rock's most magnetic frontmen, but time and turmoil have turned the rebel prince into a recluse struggling to outsing his own legend. 9. Val Kilmer. Brilliant, mysterious, and impossibly handsome, Val Kilmer seemed destined for immortality. Top Gun, The Doors, Heat. His performances glowed with intensity. But behind the camera, stories of arrogance and perfectionism spread. Then came tragedy. Kilmer battled throat cancer, losing his voice and much of his health. Though he fought back with courage and grace, the physical toll was devastating. Recent footage shows a man transformed, thin, frail, yet quietly dignified. Kilmer's decline isn't just physical, it's emotional. Hollywood forgot him long before he was ready to leave. And yet, even now, his eyes burn with that same haunting intelligence that once lit the screen. 8. Nick Nolte. There was a time when Nick Nolte looked carved from stone, rugged, golden-haired, and effortlessly masculine. But Nolte's battles with addiction turned that handsome face into one of Hollywood's most infamous mugshots. Drugs and alcohol ravaged both his body and career. Directors stopped calling, studios stopped trusting. Yet, there's something almost noble in Nolte's fall. He never pretended to be what he wasn't. In interviews, he's admitted his demons freely. Still, the man who once defined the word leading man now lives quietly, looking like a weathered ghost of himself. 7. Mickey Rourke. Here it is, the one you were waiting for. Mickey Rourke could have been one of the greatest. With his raw magnetism in 9.5 Weeks and The Wrestler, he was called the new Brando, but fame bored him and boxing called his name. Years of brutal fights left his face shattered. Reconstructive surgeries made him nearly unrecognizable. What was once a face of dangerous beauty turned into a mask of regret. When Rourke resurfaced, fans gasped. The transformation was shocking. But behind the scars lies a man who never stopped fighting, even when the world stopped cheering. His story is both heartbreaking and human. Proof that some people would rather destroy themselves chasing authenticity than live a lie. 6. Lindsay Lohan. From Disney sweetheart to tabloid obsession, Lindsay Lohan's decline was painfully public. Talent? Undeniable. Self-destruction? Equally undeniable. By 25, she had more mugshots than movie credits. Drugs, bad relationships, and relentless media pressure aged her faster than time ever could. In recent years, Lohan has tried to rebuild her image, but those early years of chaos left deep scars. Her face tells the story of fame devouring innocence, one headline at a time. 5. Mel Gibson. For years, Mel Gibson was Hollywood royalty, Braveheart, Lethal Weapon, The Patriot. But one drunken night changed everything. His 2006 anti-Semitic rant became one of the most infamous meltdowns in entertainment history. Overnight, Gibson went from Oscar winner to outcast. While he's attempted comebacks, the years of anger and isolation etched themselves into his face. Once the dashing hero, now he's a symbol of how ego and hate can destroy even the most beloved star. 4. Russell Crowe. From Gladiator to A Beautiful Mind, Russell Crowe embodied strength and intelligence. But after his Oscar wins, the weight of fame and perhaps the weight of comfort changed him. Crowe's transformation shocked fans. The chiseled warrior became heavy-set, unrecognizable, and visibly weary. His energy dimmed, his temper stayed. While still respected, Crowe's image became a reminder that even greats can lose discipline when the spotlight fades. 3. Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin's aging isn't just physical, it's reputational. Once a leading man known for charisma and wit, Baldwin's temper and controversies became tabloid fixtures. From public outbursts to the tragic Rust shooting, his once impeccable career now feels haunted. The confident smirk that once charmed audiences now carries exhaustion and regret. Baldwin remains talented, but the years of headlines have weighed heavier than time itself. 2. Johnny Depp. Few declines have broken hearts quite like Johnny Depp's. Once the cool outsider of Edward Scissorhands and Pirates of the Caribbean, Depp symbolized mystery and rebellion. But years of courtroom battles, accusations, and public humiliation turned him into something else. A man visibly aged beyond his years, worn by scandal and addiction. When he appears now, fans see the remnants of a legend, eyes that once sparkled with mischief now shadowed by fatigue and sadness. Depp's story isn't just about aging, It's about the slow erosion of magic when fame turns against you. 1. Marlon Brando. And at number 1, Marlon Brando, the greatest actor who ever lived, and the man who perhaps aged worse than any of them. In his youth, Brando was beauty and danger personified, a streetcar named Desire, on the waterfront The Godfather. But by the end, the legend had become a recluse, overweight, disillusioned, and disgusted by Hollywood. He hid behind walls, haunted by grief and guilt. Brando's decline wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. The man who changed acting forever couldn't escape the loneliness that came with genius. When he died in 2004, he left behind not just films, but a warning: brilliance burns fast, and fame always collects its debt.